Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey Hearties, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, joined by my co-host Brennan, and today we are here to talk about When Calls the Heart, Season 12, Episode 9, Buried Treasure.
It was written by Paul Redford and Liam Fernley, directed by Siobhan Devine. The Garrison gang comes for their gold with Hope Valley residents in the Crosshairs. Angela visits the Schwartzman School, and Rosemary uncovers the truth about Ava.
What were your first impressions on Buried Treasure?
It was an episode that had a lot going on again, lots of storylines and couple things I think that needed to be solved and wrapped up. A lot to fit in this episode. There was a lot going on.
Yeah, I agree. I know that some people were disappointed with this episode, and I totally understand that. It was maybe a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but I still did enjoy it. There were some great moments in this episode. And
Yes.
Paul has been a writer on the show, I think, since season 10 or 11. And I believe Liam Fernley is Neil Fernley's son. And I think
that's cool.
that's the first time he's written on this show. So I think he did
Oh.
a pretty good job for his first episode on this show.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, there was a lot going on in this episode. So he did well, wrapped a lot of things up.
Yeah. And Siobhan is a great director too.
Yes.
I've always enjoyed her work on When Calls.
Yeah, me too. She's great.
Yes. And I'll go ahead and say this too about the episode. Even though I know it felt a little underwhelming for some, I think Hallmark made a smart move not putting a quote unquote blockbuster episode up against the Oscars like episode 10, 11, and maybe 12 will be, or episode 7.
Yes. Yes. And I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't even think of that. I think that's really smart because these next few episodes are definitely going to be ones that we'll want everyone to stick around for. We'll want everyone to watch.
Yes. Agreed.
Yes. Good stuff coming.
Yes.
Well, we know there's sad stuff coming, but ultimately good stuff coming.
Yes. And with all that said, I think that they are saving the best for last, especially with Nathan and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
But to do that, to save the best for last, especially with them, they had to wrap up some of these stories, like Ava and the mystery with the Garrisons. So,
yes, I would agree with that. And I would much rather have an episode like this where there's more wrapped up. So it's really all about Nathan and Elizabeth up until the end and ending the season with them. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure we'll get other stories besides Nathan and Elizabeth these next 3 episodes, but I feel like the main focus is going to be on them. Like a lot of focus is going to be on them because they are the lead couple of this show.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And like you said, now there's more things out of the way. You know, Sonny Garrison is probably back behind bars. Maybe, I guess I can't say for sure. You know, Ava has now left town.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, we got some good things wrapped up that'll leave more time to now focus back on Nathan and Elizabeth.
Yes. And we will have some more stuff with the Canfields coming up. Stay tuned for our interview with Natasha coming up soon. So lovely to chat with her today.
Yes, she was so wonderful. It was so fun.
And some of the kids, because we know that Emily, Timmy, and Angela will be graduating. So.
Yeah. That'll be bittersweet.
Yes. And Mike and May, we know that they throw a harvest festival this week in the episode.
Yeah, and that does look fun, just with some
Yeah.
BTS photos that have been shared
Yeah.
with the whole town there, and
Yeah.
that looks fun. I think it'll be good.
Yes. And I also think that we have more coming up with Bill and Georgie, as we've seen
Mhm.
in the episode 10 press photos. I
Yes.
think, now I haven't watched it yet, but I think in Johanna's Heart to Hearties interview, she said there's more coming up with Jed and Molly, so that'll be fun to see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I think the main focus is going to be Nathan and Elizabeth.
hmm I agree. Absolutely.
So, no need to worry, Hearties.
Mm-mm.
Everything's going to be okay.
I agree. I think there's
Yes.
still exciting things coming
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
for them.
Yes. And I think one more thing we need to address before we dive deep into this episode. I don't know if you saw it, but there's been a lot of concern over Brian Bird's tweet at the end
hmm
of the night.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think we need to worry. I think he was very positive. I don't think he was trying to say that there won't be a season 13. He probably
hmm
doesn't know.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I think he had put out a tweet before that, something about wanting a season 13
Yes.
and a positive tweet.
Yeah.
And I know when this one came out, I wasn't super upset or worried about it
Mm-mm.
because I know that he's kind of put tweets out like this before. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, it always helps to go back and reread.
Yeah.
And the more I reread it, I realize, okay, I think he is just
Mm-hmm.
thanking the fans.
Yes.
It was an Oscar
Yes.
night. So maybe it
Yes.
was a nod, thank
Yeah.
you to the Academy. Thank you
Yeah.
to the Hardys.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the post, all of his hashtags, he did have Keen on 13.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
there's
agree with you.
no need to worry. And him saying that these next few episodes are for us, I think that was really positive. I don't think that was in any way negative. So,
Right. I agree with that. In a way, I thought, okay, thank you. Maybe he
yeah.
really wants to let us know, hey, we want to give you more of what the
Yeah.
viewers have been wanting and hoping
Yeah.
for.
Yes. And he's shared how well the show is doing. I mean, just the other
Mhm.
day, he mentioned how, from an article, the show is in the top 3% of all TV shows in viewer
Mhm.
demand. So that is amazing.
That's incredible. That is amazing. That just
A
tells me
little,
I don't think this is slowing down anytime soon. And Brian Bird has also said if Hallmark were to ever stop airing When Calls the Heart, he seems very confident that they would shop around and find
yes,
somewhere else that would take the show.
he has said that they
Yeah.
would find somewhere else for
Mm-hmm.
the show to go.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because I know that the cast, especially Kevin and Aaron, are very committed to this
Mm-hmm.
long term. I wasn't in Kansas City, but I could tell from the live videos from Suspenders Unbuttoned that
Mm-hmm.
they are very interested in staying on the show as long as
Mm-hmm.
it goes, as well as the rest of the cast. I think everyone is
For
very committed.
sure. For sure. That's the vibe that I got too. Just,
Mm-hmm.
they just all seem so excited, not only about what's going on currently, but
Yeah.
they always talk kind of in future too of, well,
Yeah.
if this continues or this could
Yeah.
continue. And yeah, I don't think anyone is planning on being done anytime soon. I think, especially for Aaron and Kevin, I think they are so excited to finally
Yes.
tell this story with Nathan and
Yes.
Elizabeth and finally play out their romance and their
Yeah.
relationship. And they're just getting started,
Yes.
but they're both so excited.
Yes. And didn't Kevin or Aaron or both of them in Kansas City? It might have been Aaron. I can't remember. I would have to go back and watch one of the live videos. But didn't one of them or both of them or Aaron say that from now on it is the Grant family? Like Nathan and
Oh,
Elizabeth and the Grant family. Something along those
mhm.
lines, like going
Right.
forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I think in so many words, she did.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
And
speaking in future terms, future
yes.
seasons.
For sure. And Erin talking about how for Elizabeth,
Hmm.
Nathan is her rock. And
Yeah.
I know that might be for a specific episode coming up, but
Hmm.
I think she probably means in
Yeah.
general. And
Yeah.
even Viv, slipped like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
the
It's the
grants.
greatest.
And I mean,
Yeah.
I think the
Yes.
whole cast they just know like, okay, this is not going anywhere.
Mm-mm. Nope. Hallmark is not changing things up with the main couple again. They're not doing that.
No, no, they are not doing that at all. I don't think anyone has any reason to worry.
Mm-mm.
They would not do that again. No way.
No.
No way.
And we might mention this at the end of our episode again when we talk about what's coming up, but I just have to go ahead and say this now in case
Mhm.
we forget.
Yeah.
I know that some people are worried that Kevin is leaving the show because of Nathan getting the promotion and, a transfer. That's not happening. Kevin
No,
is not leaving the show.
no.
Hallmark would not have allowed the switch back to Nathan and Elizabeth if that were the case.
Exactly. Exactly. That's so true. And I really believe that Kevin, he finally is playing this story and he finally gets to tell this story with Nathan that was
Hmm.
always supposed to be.
Yeah.
And he's so excited about it. He's always liked Elizabeth and Nathan as a couple. He's always
Yeah.
believed in them. He's finally in that role that I think he's wanted for so long.
Yeah.
And there's no way he's giving that up now. And he talks a lot about how special the show is for him
Yeah.
personally and professionally.
Hmm.
Obviously, he
Yeah.
met beautiful Kayla
Kayla.
there,
Yeah.
and he has made so many friends. He and Aaron and Ben are so
Hmm.
close, and he and
Yeah.
Chris, and we see how much he loves it. He talks
Hmm.
about it a lot.
Yeah. He's not leaving. None of us need to worry about that. That's not happening.
No, no, that's not happening. No, not at all.
And I'll just go there. I know that a lot of us did feel somewhat blindsided by Hallmark when Dan left the show
Mhm.
because we did not see Jack's death coming. Like they were promoting it like he was staying on, like nothing was going to happen to
Mhm.
Jack. And of course, something did happen to Jack.
Yeah.
I know some people have felt blindsided by that, but I think in that sense, Hallmark has learned their lesson. And
Mhm.
they're not doing that again. Even on the Facebook Live with Dan, Aaron, and Lori and
Mhm.
Brian, right
Mhm.
after the season ended, they said they're not killing off any main characters again.
Exactly. Exactly. It was a one undone. And especially, I don't think they're not going to do that.
No.
On a 1% chance they would, I don't think it would be another Mountie.
Mm-mm. No.
Mm-hmm.
It would
Right.
be someone else. It would be another character.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. But I agree with you. They've given us our word, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they've forgotten about that. So,
Mm-mm.
yes, no more characters will be passing on.
No, I think they even said that in an interview about season 12 with the life or death situation. There's not going to
Mhm.
be any
Mhm.
deaths.
Right. It might be sad, and it might be, for the characters at least, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
unknown, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe all will be
Yeah.
well.
And of course, I love Dan. Everyone knows I love Dan.
Hmm.
But I think as the show went on in his seasons, I think he became less committed than Kevin is. I think Kevin is way more committed than Dan.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. I really do. And I remember noticing that too, definitely in season 5.
Hmm.
Uh, you might have to remind me about season 4, but I did think that was interesting. Like, okay,
Hmm.
they're engaged, they're setting them up to be
Hmm.
married, but why are they still sending Jack away? when they're trying to get married. And then when he came back and he had to go to Fort Clay, I remember thinking, why is he going away again? Now we know why, and it makes sense. And they had to make a very difficult decision. But Kevin has the most screen time he's ever had. And he really, truly is the leading man.
Yes.
And he's not shying away from that at all.
No. And that was not an insult to Dan. Like, no. I am a huge Daniel Lissing fan.
Yes, me too. Absolutely. And we completely respect his decision and what he chose to do for his life and his career. And I'm sure it wasn't easy for him. No. That's not an easy decision to make. And we supported him. Of course, we were sad. We missed him. Yeah. But we supported him, and you know, it's been so fun to see him back in Hallmark movies and keeping up with what he does. And we still have so much love for Dan and Jack.
Yes. But we love Kevin too, and we wouldn't trade where the story is going now with Nathan and Elizabeth.
Right. That's so true. And in a lot of ways, without Jack, there would be no Nathan.
Exactly.
You know, so I think in a lot of ways, these characters, even though they never met, you know, I think in a lot of ways they kind of needed each other, you know, to come to Hope Valley and protect Elizabeth and keep her safe.
Yes, we will always miss Dan and Jack, but it has been amazing that Kevin has been on the show longer than Dan now.
He now has. Which is really, really exciting. Really exciting. And it's so hard to imagine the show in Hope Valley without him.
Yeah. Yes.
I can't imagine it. Nathan and Elizabeth, something that's so beautiful about their relationship is they talk about Jack.
Yes.
And Elizabeth talks to her son, Jack, about his father, Jack.
Yes.
And obviously in the first episode, Nathan made it very clear he always wants Jack's father to be in his life. He made him that beautiful case for his medal.
Shadow box.
So that's the beautiful thing, that he is still very much a part of their story and their lives.
Yeah, and he always will be.
Yes.
I know we've gone down a little bit of a rabbit hole, Hearties, but before we dive into this episode review, I just have to say, I don't know how likely it is now that we've seen most of season 12. I mean, I guess it still could happen at some point, but I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for that. Nathan was supposed to be the original Mountie of Cole/Hope Valley. I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for that.
I really hope so too, especially with how the first episode, you know, did have Jack Sr. in it very much. That would kind of be a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm hoping for that too.
Fingers crossed.
I know we really think the same on that.
Yes.
We're like-minded about that.
Yes. Team Jack, don't come for us. We love Jack. We will always love Jack. But what a story that would be of destiny. Like I said.
Right. Yes. Destiny and fate. I mean, they both were part of Elizabeth's destiny, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, reason, season, and lifetime.
Yes.
It all goes together.
It all goes together. Yes. But anyway, let's dive into this episode. And since we just had Natasha on the podcast, why don't we start with the Canfields?
Yes.
So the Hickams are taking over at the cafe while they are out of town touring the Schwartzman School. And Cooper and Toby will help with dinner service and cleanup. And, you know, they're kind of in a rush. They don't want to miss the train. I thought that was a great scene.
I did too. And I liked seeing that, okay, good. They're all going together. It's Minnie and Joseph going together. It's not like one will be staying behind. And I love Cooper, but I did appreciate how they just took Angela.
Yeah.
Because I really thought that just made it very clear,
Hmm.
this is a very special trip specific for
Yeah.
her.
So they get to the Schwartzman school and they meet Clementine. I love
Mhm.
Clementine. She's great.
She was so lovely. What a sweetheart. I adored
Yeah.
her.
Yes. And she
Yeah.
was another student, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And Clementine tells Angela about the read aloud that afternoon. They
Mm-hmm.
get recordings of books and then listen to them together. They just started the new Agatha Christie, and we find
Mm-hmm.
out that Angela loves mysteries, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that was so sweet. And I
Yeah.
liked how they just were all so welcoming of her and just
Hmm.
immediately were so friendly and talked to her. And that was so
Yeah,
special.
I think so too. And every time I hear Agatha Christie, I think of some of the other mysteries from Hallmark that we have seen. I think Agatha Christie has been mentioned in Garage Sale Mysteries with
Mm-hmm.
Lori. I
Yeah.
think Mystery 101, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just
Yeah.
two. So yeah,
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yes. So fun.
Yeah, I think we need to see Vienna in a mystery movie. That would be amazing.
Oh, that would be amazing. She would crush that. She would be great in something like that.
Yes, I think so
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, I've said this before, but I think this is one of my favorite storylines for the Canfields with
Mhm.
her going off to school or wanting to go off to school at a school for
Mhm.
the blind.
Mhm. Yes, I totally agree with that. I think that too, just to see her make choices of her future
Hmm.
and making choices and wrestling with a little bit of,
Yeah.
well, how would I do this or
Hmm.
how would this work?
And I love what Natasha told us about this storyline too. So make sure to look out for that, Arties,
Yeah.
when our interview drops.
Yeah.
It's always fun to hear behind the scenes and just a
Hmm.
little tease about the storylines from the cast.
Yes.
And then we get that beautiful scene at the cafe with Minnie and Angela. She's
Hmm.
feeling a little overwhelmed and now doesn't want to go to the school. She
Hmm.
doesn't feel like she's ready. And then the mother-daughter conversation with Joseph watching. Oh.
Oh. That was so sweet. I love that. It just was such an intimate
Yeah,
conversation between a mother and
yeah,
a daughter. And
yeah.
I love that we got a scene with Minnie encouraging
Mm-hmm.
Angela,
Yeah,
especially after the struggle Minnie had a little bit about the thought of Angela going away. And Joseph has always been, well, they both are. We saw
mm-hmm.
Joseph get to have an encouraging conversation with
Yeah,
Angela back in episode 4 about Allie's party and dancing.
yes.
So I really liked how we got
Mm-hmm.
a conversation with Minnie and Angela,
Me too. Yes.
encouraging her too.
It was one of my favorite scenes of the episode, I think.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah,
It was so good. And even
yeah.
just, yeah, the way Minnie was sitting and how
Mm-hmm.
Angela was sitting and just the way they were placed and how
Yeah.
Minnie just was looking up at her daughter. And it was so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Yes. Go down that hill once, and I have a feeling that when you get to the bottom, you're going to want to run right back up and try it again with all your new friends.
Mm, so sweet.
Yes. Minnie is such a good mom,
Hmm.
I
She's
believe.
such a good mom.
Yeah.
She really is.
Yes. So that wraps up the Canfield story in episode 9, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next for them in these
Hmm.
3 episodes left of the season.
Yeah, me too. It'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see. I'm excited to see what Angela chooses to do.
Yes, we know she's
Hmm.
graduating. That'll be bittersweet.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like she just got to Hope Valley. Now she's
I know.
graduating already.
I know. I don't want to think about Vienna leaving the show, but part of me
Mm,
wonders if she's going to cut back her time on the show. So just be more
mm,
part-time because of Angela
mm.
graduating.
That's a good point. which would be sad,
Mm-hmm.
especially just with
Yes.
how her character has grown and just has flourished so
Yeah.
much. She would be
Yes.
missed for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that Vienna is leaving, but I
Mm-hmm.
could see it with Angela graduating.
Mm-hmm. Right. Me too. Bittersweet. I mean, exciting for her, but bittersweet,
Yes.
of course.
Yes. Moving on to Lucas and the national park. Lucas and Henry, that was a great scene.
That was a great scene. We got to see Lucas in the barn. Yay!
Yes.
I don't think we've ever seen Lucas in the barn.
Have we? Not that I
Unless
can
I,
remember.
right. Yeah. So
I
that, I
think,
mean, that was fun. And it was fun to see Henry back in the barn too.
yeah.
He was there a lot, like
Yeah.
back in season 10 and
That exchange with Elizabeth or two.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep. Oh yeah, he got to see the panic attack. Yep. He was right there. Good old
Yeah.
Henry.
Yes.
And I love how Lucas went to Henry because, he needed a true friend. He needed advice from someone he trusts.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we hear from Lucas that basically, any way they move, McGinty's got them. All the ranchers are in his pocket. He blocked the
Yeah.
cattle path, which we already knew, and he's
Hmm.
blocking any kind of compromise over the park. Henry suggests to Lucas that he stop negotiating, so no more meetings or proposals, just make an executive order without the legislator or a cattleman's approval, which they'll make him pay, and he'll probably lose their votes as well
Hmm.
as the votes of everyone they tell how to vote. And more
Hmm.
than likely, he'll lose the governorship too, but he'll get his park.
Yeah, I always appreciate Henry's honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And, Henry now is just,
Mm-hmm.
he's just become this very kind, caring, I think,
Mm-hmm.
sympathetic person that he's able to communicate in a way that is still to the point. He tells it like it is, but it's still coming from a caring friend,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Of course, it would be tough to see Lucas lose the governorship, but
Hmm.
I think that his story coming up in these next few episodes is going to be great. Like, I think his story is getting really good now.
Oh, yes, it's getting so good. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
I think from what we know about the episodes coming up, I
Mm-hmm.
think there's going to be a little more, hustle
Mm-hmm.
coming. And I
Yeah.
think he's, going to be busy trying to figure
Mm-hmm.
things out. And yeah, I
Yeah.
agree about his story. I think he's got
Yes.
some exciting things coming.
And I saw this theory, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or Instagram,
Mm.
but maybe if Lucas loses the governorship, I could see him being mayor and taking over for Lee because I do seem to
Mhm.
remember Lee as mayor was just supposed to
Mhm.
be temporary.
Mhm.
The interim
Ooh,
mayor or
an
something
interim
along those
there.
lines.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, Nicole, because that would free, obviously,
Lee.
as a character, that would put Lucas back in Hope Valley
Yep.
full time.
Mm-hmm.
And, if he's not governor anymore and becomes mayor, he still could absolutely make a difference in the
Mm-hmm.
community
Yeah.
and help people.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably would also free him up to explore possible new relationships
Yeah.
because he'd be around more.
Yes. Possibly Edie if Fiona doesn't come back. I'm still shipping Lucas and Fiona, but
I am too.
I love Lucas and Edie too. So I would be okay
Me
with
too.
them if Fiona didn't come back more full time.
Yes. Yes. I agree with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And, maybe Lucas will, if we get a season 13, if
Yes.
Edie sticks around, comes back,
Yeah.
maybe he'll help her with her ranch.
Yeah. It would be fun to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like country ranch,
Yeah.
Lucas. I want to see more of that.
That was great. What episode was that? Was that
That was
four?
was that was that 3?
I feel like it was 4 with the birthday party. I
It
feel like
could
it
have
was
been
the
4.
same episode as the birthday party, I think.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a great scene.
that was a
That
great
was
scene
great. That was a
with
great
them
scene.
with them catching the cow.
Oh, we need more lassoing from Lucas. He's got to do that again. He's
Yes,
got a gift. He needs to use it.
yes. Use your gifts, Lucas.
Use your gifts, Lucas. Even the
Yes,
ones you didn't know you had.
yes. And like I said, seeing him lose the governorship would be hard, but it was a great season for him, season of
Yes.
life. And
hmm
one of my favorite scenes, I know some may not agree with me, but one of my favorite scenes from season 10 is his speech at the governor's ball.
Oh, absolutely. I think that is one of my favorite Lucas scenes ever. The whole time he has been in Hope Valley. I mean, that was powerful.
When he
Mm.
basically ripped Balfour to shreds. Like,
Yes.
go, Lucas.
Yes. Yes. And I think that was very much a moment where I think we saw, I don't want to say old Lucas, but we
Yeah.
saw the Lucas that we knew when he came into town come back. Like, there
Yes.
he is. This is the Lucas that we know and that we have missed
Yes.
because he wasn't quite himself for a little bit
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
I loved that speech.
hmm I did too. I did
Yes.
too. It was
Yes.
so good. That was great. And Chris just delivered such a wonderful performance. And
Yes.
yeah, I that's such a great scene.
According to Balfour, the greater good does not include places like Eagle Creek or Rock Creek or
hmm
even Hope Valley
hmm
because he's happy and willing to steal their water high and dry.
Oh, he calls him out.
Like, go.
Reach, mic drop.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And even
Yes.
for Lucas to just basically do that kind of
hmm
unplanned,
Yeah.
so impressive.
Yes. And
hmm
just like you could hear a pin drop probably
hmm
in that scene.
hmm
Like everyone's reaction was just, what?
Yes. Yes. And even the governor, he's panicking. He just was like, what is happening? And
Yeah.
yes, Lucas is back, baby.
Yes. Balfour and Montague, like I remember they literally were gonna
hmm
like,
hmm
not literally, but
hmm Right. Well, they were shaking in their boots and they pretty much pieced out
yeah.
after that. Like Montague gave him a threat, but they kind of just bounced. Like,
Yeah.
how?
Yeah, Nathan and I think it was Bill had to like grab Montague and Balfour's arms and like stop
hmm
them.
Right. Right. Like, oh no, no, you're not running away that fast.
Yeah. And then of course Montague's threat, like, you have no idea who you've crossed. And Lucas is
Mm,
like, I think I do, or something.
hmm
I was like,
hmm Tell him, Lucas. That was amazing. That was an
yeah,
incredible episode for him.
yeah. So wrapping up this scene in reference to McGinty and, going around him with the executive order, Henry says, that's how despots rule, isn't it? They make everyone figure that it's too much to oppose them. But once that fear dissipates, they tend to disappear like a cloud of dust. And then, Lucas says, well, let's make him disappear.
hmm hmm That's right.
Yes. And we
Yeah.
will talk about it shortly, but we will see McGinty back next week or this week.
hmm Oh, we sure will, unfortunately.
Yeah, because the land dispute is intensifying.
hmm That will be
So,
interesting.
yeah. Lucas and Edie and the scene when he invites her on a working dinner. That was a great moment.
That was so sweet. And I like how they called each other by their first names.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can tell they're both kind of happy to see each other, like
Yeah.
Lucas, Edie. And then
Yeah.
when she tells him that she's staying at the saloon,
Yeah.
he says, "Oh, that's fantastic." And they
Hmm.
both split up a little bit seeing each
Yeah.
other.
They did. Yes.
Also, Lee in the back
Back.
when he was drying or polishing that glass, just
Yes.
watching and listening. That was so cute.
Yes. Yes. Oh my
He's
gosh.
like, "Get it, Lucas, my man."
The eavesdropping was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
I also thought the scene with Lucas and Lee was good, even though it
Mhm,
was pretty brief. So
mhm,
Lucas goes by the Valley Boys to apologize to Lee
mhm,
for taking so long and compromising their friendship by trying to be the good guy without ruffling any feathers.
mhm,
And he mentions that he's found a way around the ranchers, and, Lee wishes good luck with Edie. That was
mhm.
a great scene.
That was a great scene. It's good to see them
Hmm.
be on good terms again. And, Lucas is just now very quick to apologize and wants to
Yeah.
make things right. And
Yeah.
it's good to
Yes.
see them not fighting anymore.
Yes. Same. Way to go for working things out.
Yay!
So, Lucas and Edie's working dinner at the
Mhm,
cafe.
mhm.
That was a nice moment. And
Yeah.
Mike and May trying to figure out what to make them to eat.
It was it was so funny because you could hear things like clattering and like dropping in the kitchen in the back, and like Lucas kind of keeps looking over and like because they're trying to have this serious conversation, but there's just all this
Yeah.
noise going on and
I love when, they're just sitting there and then Mike and May come in and Mike and May are just like completely dumbfounded, like, oh,
Mhm.
shoot,
Right.
what are we gonna make them to eat?
Oops.
And then Lucas and Edie, ask for menus. And
Mhm.
of course, Mike doesn't know where the menus are. And Edie's just like, I'll just have the special, whatever
Mhm.
that is.
Yes. Yes. And Mike is just so flustered, and then he says, "Crazy day, right?" And
Right?
oh, he had some great humor this episode. I really
Yeah, he
appreciate
did. And then Lucas lets Edie know about the executive order
it. Mhm,
he's making. And she mentions that this is basically declaring war and that
mhm,
McGinty will try to take revenge, but they can still be friends. So I'm
mhm.
glad that she said that they can still be friends.
Me too. And even Lucas
Hmm.
did a double check. We're still friends, right? We can still be friends,
Yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
I think it's becoming clear that a
Yeah.
friendship is important to them. They both
Yeah.
still want that.
And their toast with the chicken to friends to life with the chicken legs.
That was so cute. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so fun to see just Lucas spending time in the
Yeah.
company of another gal.
Yes.
Hmm.
So they had leftover chicken,
Hmm.
picnic squab, and bread that was baked fresh the day before.
That was so funny. Mike is like, and bread that was fresh baked yesterday.
Yesterday.
Oh boy.
Even though we know from talking to Natasha, it was
Hmm.
actually baked
Yes.
on the day
Yes.
of,
Yes. Just to clarify.
just to clarify.
Hmm.
Even though bread is usually good the day after you bake it too. So,
That's true. That's true. The crust might be a little
yeah.
crustier, crunchier, but
Yeah.
it's still good.
Yes. What is your favorite type of bread? I love sourdough. I think that's
Oh,
my
I was just
favorite.
gonna say that mine is sourdough. Sourdough and like a good multigrain.
Yeah, I like multigrain too.
Mhm.
Sometimes I'll eat white bread.
Yeah, I'm with you, girl, but sourdough
Yeah.
is my fave.
Yeah. I think sourdough is more healthy than white bread, if I
Yes. Yep.
am correct. Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's Harris Teeter that has a really good sourdough, if I'm correct, that
Ooh.
we buy.
Oh, yum. That sounds so
Yeah,
good. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, just buying like a fresh baked
yeah,
loaf of sourdough bread. Oh,
yeah.
the best.
Harris Teeter has some good food items. I'll say that.
Is that a grocery store?
Yeah, it's a grocery store. I don't know if
Oh,
there's Harris Teeters in Minnesota.
mm-mm.
No.
No, unfortunately. If we had one, I would go get their sourdough though.
Yes. I don't know what kind of grocery stores are in Minnesota, but I'm sure y'all have some great ones too.
We do. We do have our own chains. Like we have Cub Foods and Lunds and Byerly's is great. Lunds and Byerly's, they have a really good bakery.
Okay. I've never heard of
Mhm.
either one of those. I'm
Yeah,
sure they're great though.
they're good.
Yeah. Yes.
We have
Yeah.
many grocery stores, but those two are kind of the
Yeah.
top chains.
We also have a Trader Joe's. We have a couple Trader Joe's here, and then Whole Foods.
Hmm. Yes, we have a Whole Foods too. We have a Trader Joe's. I love Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has really good sourdough. It's not fresh baked, but it's very good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, we love Trader Joe's.
I do too. I'm there all the time. I
Yes.
always buy way too much when I'm in there.
They have these really good microwave mac and cheeses.
Oh, the mac and cheese bites.
Not the mac and cheese bites, they're like mac and cheese bowls. It comes in a red and yellow box.
Yes, I know the one you're talking about. Oh, that one is so good. I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, delicious.
Oh, and then I think these are from Trader Joe's too, the little circle pizza bites.
Oh, those are so good. Those take me back to childhood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going down a food rabbit hole, Hardy. Sorry about that. I think we're both
Please tell
foodies.
us your favorite grocery store in the comments.
Yes. And a food you would like to try if you ever went to Minnie's Cafe.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Great idea.
Yeah. I picked Minnie's barbecue.
I do too. I do too. Yes. Love barbecue.
Yes.
Hmm.
And Joseph's too. I would like to try Joseph's
Oh,
barbecue
for
too.
sure. I bet they're both
Yeah.
delicious.
Whose is Kansas City and whose is it St. Louis? I think Joseph's is Kansas City.
I think his is Kansas City. I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Love
Yes.
barbecue.
I love barbecue. So
Yeah.
good. Oh my goodness. Do you guys have good barbecue where you are?
Yes, we do. We have
Yeah.
a Melvin's, which that's a chain, I
Mm.
believe. I feel like there's a couple other places, but Melvin's is just one that just I can think of right off the top of my head. But we have
Yeah.
some great barbecue.
Yeah. Yum.
Oh, it's not here. It's around where my grandmother is. There's a
Yeah.
really great barbecue place in Scranton, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's called Schoolhouse Barbecue, and they
Oh.
have great barbecue.
Oh, yum.
It's so good.
That sounds so good.
Yes. If you're ever in the Scranton, South Carolina area, Hardee's, go to the Schoolhouse Barbecue.
Mm. Sounds like a must.
Yes. And I know this place because of the mission trip that I go on in the summertime, Salkehatchie. Hardee's, if you were ever in the Clemson slash Pendleton area, it's in Pendleton, but Pendleton is like right outside of Clemson. Go to the Smoking Pig.
Ooh,
So good.
I like that name. That sounds good.
Yes.
That sounds really good.
Yes.
Nice.
But anyway, getting out of our food connoisseur rabbit hole and back to Hope Valley, why don't we move on to Ava? So her story was wrapped up in this episode, at least we
Mhm.
think. I've seen some people say she could come back, but we don't know.
Right. I guess, never say never when someone leaves
Yeah.
Hope Valley. Sometimes it's permanent, but a lot of other times it's temporary.
So the scene in the mercantile, she received a telegram from someone named Mr. Elmer Peterson, who lost a trunk with the same description as hers. The train station wants confirmation it's hers, and I love how Rosemary and Elizabeth with Goldie and Jack, they're just kind of standing off in the background and their reactions are just hilarious.
Oh, they're priceless. Just what's going on?
Yeah,
More suspicion.
yeah. And I kind of cracked up when Rosemary said, "So many stolen trunks."
Yeah. Like, what is happening? What is with these trunks?
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
And just the look that Elizabeth and Rosemary give each other after she said that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. More questions.
Mm-hmm. And Mavis
Mm-hmm.
like, busy thieves.
Yep. Just thinking of just answers and excuses on the spot. Oh gosh.
Yep. This scene I'll only mention because of the comedic line from Rosemary. So, they're talking about Ava, and Rosemary knew that she was hiding something, and Elizabeth thinks it's just a theory and that it's possible to have two identical trunks, but still a strange coincidence. They keep talking for a second, and as Rosemary starts to leave, I love how she's like, "Giddy up, Elizabeth!"
Yes. And she just drags Elizabeth out the door with her. That was
And
hilarious.
Elizabeth is just like,
Here we go again.
this scene, I think, was the funniest with Elizabeth and Rosemary of the episode.
Mhm.
So, when they're at the saloon and at first they're talking to Mike and Lee about Ava and her trunk, and then
Mhm.
they spy on Ava. So the spying on her was the funny part. And
Yes.
they see her throw the trunk off the balcony, and,
Mhm.
I think right before Ava throws the trunk, Elizabeth tells Rosemary that they should just talk to her. And
Mhm.
I think it's maybe right after the trunk is thrown. I
Mhm.
love how Elizabeth is like, Coulter!
Oh my goodness. And it was fun to see them up on the balcony,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
when Rosemary was peering in the window, that
Mm-hmm.
was just so funny.
That was hilarious. Yeah.
And I loved when they're going around the corner and she yanks Elizabeth and just like pulls.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
I was like, she's gonna rip her arm out of her socket.
Yeah. What was it Rosemary said when they kind of popped out from behind the wall? Like, where are you? Or something. Or
Mhm.
come out
Right.
wherever you are.
Right. Yes. Oh, trying so hard to bust her.
Yep. So Ava does come clean, and this is her story. So she is not an heiress, and her parents aren't traveling the globe. She promises to pay them back, for
Mhm.
all the money she spent at the saloon
Mhm.
and everywhere else. She mentions a man named Clive Maxwell, who is a mentalist. He is a con man, and she was his plant. He would pick a mark and have her butter them up by getting them to tell her a few things like birthdays and pet names. Then an hour later, he'd invite them on stage and miraculously guess them. When she realized it was a scam, she confronted him and he threatened to call the cops on her. And then he wanted to try a new scam where she'd pretend to faint in the audience and then he'd pickpocket the mark on stage. But they didn't know the mark was the Pinkerton. And later that night, when the Pinkertons came back, Clive blamed her. So she ran and she heard about Hope Valley and decided to go there. So that is her
Mhm.
story.
Yeah, I did. I was hoping that her story would maybe tie in a little more to what was happening with the other storylines. It did seem pretty random, but I also was finally, happy
Yeah.
to find out who she really is and why
Yeah.
she was there.
Yeah, I kind of thought she would be connected with the Garrisons.
I thought so too.
I'm actually glad she's not a criminal. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because I think parts of her really were coming out, with the
Yeah.
singing and being in the
Hmm.
play.
Yeah.
And I don't think she liked, having to lie and
Mm-mm.
pretend to be somebody she wasn't.
Yeah. So Elizabeth suggests talking to Nathan to work things out, which she does at the
Hmm.
end of the episode.
Hmm.
And we see in that last scene of the episode, Mounty headquarters has arranged an escort to take her to the courthouse, and the Pinkertons have agreed to wipe the slate clean as long as she testifies, which of course she will. And then Rosemary compliments Ava's acting. And then Elizabeth mentions how Ava has reached her favorite chapter in her book, A Single Mother on the Frontier.
Yeah.
The one where Elsa realizes she's no longer a stranger to Hope Valley.
Yes, that's so good.
That was a great moment, I think.
That was a great moment. And I did appreciate how soft Elizabeth was with her because, Rosemary started a little more harsh and, tell us all these things. And Elizabeth was the one that was a little softer and a little more gentler. She was
Yeah.
the one that got Ava to open up.
Yeah.
So I did appreciate that Elizabeth
Yes.
was
Yeah.
like that for her.
Yes. And then the goodbyes, and then Mike running after Ava with her trunk. Ava, you forgot your trunk.
Gosh. And it's just so funny. Like everyone just lets him run. They're like, just let him figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. I love the way he runs out and then he kind of pauses when he
Hmm.
gets on the street and then he's like,
I mean, it's sweet. He doesn't want her to forget her
yeah,
trunk. It's not really hers, but poor Mike doesn't
yeah.
know. Like,
So going to the mystery and the Grants and the Thorntons, Nathan and Bill, we find out that Sonny Garrison escaped Granville by overtaking two guards and jumping the fence. Bill believes he's headed to Martell Ranch. I just got to point this out. Why does it seem like since Nathan has been on the show, there's been escapees from Granville multiple times?
right. That's actually so true. Seems like every season, like, oh, someone escaped, someone escaped. It's like, okay, first of all, how is it so easy for these prisoners to escape? That is something that needs to be addressed in these prisons. It is too easy for people to escape. They
Yeah.
got to fix that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's so funny. That's a good point.
Yeah. And that's not anything against Nathan.
No. Oh no, that's just
No.
coincidence.
Yeah.
He just
It's
has had
just
to catch a lot of escaped prisoners.
that's what I was trying to say. What is it with Nathan catching escaped prisoners from Granville?
That's kind of his thing. It's just, oh yeah, here I go again. I've done this a million times.
So Elizabeth and Rosemary's walk and talk. Of course, the first part of their talk is related to Ava, who we just
Hmm.
talked about.
Hmm.
And Rosemary is beginning to understand her, even though her stories are extravagant, and she makes
Hmm.
herself the star of every single anecdote. And then we hear Jack tell Elizabeth that he wants a candy bar. And, Elizabeth is like, well, you just had breakfast. And I thought that was interesting. Now, I don't know if it's going to happen this way, but I have seen people theorize that what if Jack's illness, so to speak, is diabetes
Mm.
and Mike and May having to search for insulin.
Mm. Yeah, that's been going around too.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't know how likely, but I just thought that that was interesting. They put that comment from him in there.
Unless it's just completely random, but
Yeah.
knowing we know that he gets sick coming up in a couple
Hmm.
episodes, it's interesting timing.
Hmm. And then they run into Nathan. He lets Elizabeth know that he and Bill are going on a stakeout. He wants to know if Allie can stay with her if needed because he doesn't know when he'll be back. And, of course, Elizabeth agrees. And we get to be safe in the chin touch. That was so
Oh,
sweet.
that was really cute. Of
Yeah.
course, I would have loved a kiss, but I did appreciate the physical touch of the
Yeah.
chin.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate how much calmer Elizabeth is,
Mm-hmm.
when Nathan has
Yeah,
to go somewhere. And,
yeah.
I think that's a good sign. That's
Mm-hmm.
good.
I
hmm
think so too.
Yeah.
And I know some people were a little disappointed there was no interaction with Nathan and Jack, but it didn't really bother me. Maybe Nathan was just stressed
hmm
and
Oh,
just
I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
had the
I got that
vision
vibe too.
on his
He's
mind. Yeah.
for sure he's thinking about the stakeout and he's not
Hmm.
sure when he'll be back. He might have been a little distracted.
Yeah. A little distracted. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. But we will get more Nathan and Jack scenes, I think.
Mhm.
So Oliver and Allie in the cafe, and this is the scene when they meet Woody. They talk to him about the map. His cousin Jake drew, and Woody kind of stumbles at first. I think he says Jack, and then Jackson, and then he says Jake.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Like, oh, buddy, you are losing it already. Get your story straight.
Yes. And there's a tree where Woody's parents carved their initials. Oliver and Allie offer to take him there, and Molly's eavesdropping.
Oh, Molly's eavesdropping is the best. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Uh,
Oh,
and then of
yeah,
course,
she knows something ain't right.
Woody runs into her, and she's like,
Oh,
"Excuse me,
that was so rude when he's
rude."
like, "Watch it, lady." I'm like, "Excuse me, not talk to a lady like that."
Like, drop the Michelle on Full House gif. How rude!
Right. For sure. That was a total how rude moment. And even Molly was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I never." Oh my goodness. Yeah, respect for him was long
yeah,
gone after that.
yeah. So Elizabeth, Molly, and Mike in the saloon. Elizabeth is looking for Allie since she and Oliver were supposed to meet her at the library to go over research. Molly mentions that she saw them at the cafe with Woody,
Mhm.
and Mike thinks his name is Woody Garris,
Mhm.
and Elizabeth is kind of like, that doesn't sound right. Like something is
Mhm.
off. Like I think because she saw the wanted poster, she
Mhm.
quickly puts the pieces together
Yes.
when Mike says Woody and Sonny Garris are going to have to answer to my two friends, Buster Keaton and Douglas Fairbanks.
That was so funny. And then that was so funny. And then he even says something like, "If you catch my drift." And Elizabeth is like, "We do." Yeah, the punches, I can't do it, but that was so funny. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to see that. Oh my goodness.
Yes. And then that's when she puts the pieces together. She's
Mhm.
like, "Do you mean Sonny Garrison?" And Mike's like, "Who's Sonny Garrison?" And Henry explains, he mentions that Jack and Bill put the Garrison gang away years
Mhm.
ago. But I thought it was interesting that Henry says Jack Thornton. Like,
Oh, right. Like, who else would it, what other Jack would it be?
yeah, like everyone in
Yeah,
town knows it was Jack Thornton.
especially those three. Like, they know which Jack he's talking about. Those are like the three. I mean,
Yeah.
they were all in season one.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Like,
Right. Maybe it just came out, or maybe for Henry, he
yeah,
just has to say the first and last name, you know?
maybe, yeah, yes,
Maybe it's something only Henry does.
maybe, yes. And then the shot of Elizabeth riding with Mike and Henry was great.
That was beautiful.
Hmm. Well
Yes.
done, Siobhan.
Yes, that was gorgeous. The slow down and
Hmm.
then the above shot, and then you see them going in different directions and
Hmm.
the music. That was beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she goes off alone
Mhm.
while Henry and Mike go another way.
Yeah.
And then Elizabeth eventually finds Allie's hair ribbon.
Mhm.
Way to go.
Yes. Good job, Mom.
Yes. Oh, yes. I skipped the scene. So Oliver and Allie with Woody and Sonny, the
Mm,
scenes in the woods.
yeah.
Oliver accidentally lets it slip that he's a Mountie. And then Allie mentions he's a cadet in training. She looked so proud when she said that.
She did. Like, oh yeah, he's a cadet in training.
I
Like,
mean,
so proud of Oliver. So
yes.
cute.
So Woody starts to, want to put things off. He wants to do it another time, look for the gold. And then Sonny shows up and Oliver immediately recognizes him. He's
Mhm.
like, "You're Sonny Garrison. That's your
Yeah,
face on the wanted poster." And
right.
he's like, "Ain't you smart, kid?"
Mm-hmm.
And then Oliver trying to protect Allie. That was one of the best parts of this episode. If you hurt her,
Oh my goodness. That was one of the best parts of this episode, Nicole. Just Oliver wanting to protect Allie. Oh my goodness. And he just was not afraid to threaten these guys and just stand up for the girl. And oh, just
hmm
more gold stars for Oliver.
yes, I just love how he says, "If you hurt her."
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. Isn't that when he tries to kind of lunge or push them aside and
Yes, yeah,
yeah,
because
yeah.
Sonny
Oh,
grabbed Allie's arm.
he was trying so hard to just protect her and keep her safe.
hmm
The little Mountie. I mean, he's not little, but he's so great.
Yes. And then a smart move by Allie, leaving her hair ribbon on the tree.
Oh, is she a Mountie's daughter or what? She's just so smart. She's just such a
Yeah.
bright girl.
Glad Sonny didn't see that. I think you can kind of see one point when Allie kind of moves her eyes to make sure Sonny's not looking
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
before she
Right.
takes the ribbon out.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And, Sunny and Woody, they're not the brightest bulbs in the pack. So it makes sense that they were totally oblivious to that.
And then, of course, Elizabeth finds it, as I just mentioned. And, we see Nathan and Bill on their stakeout. Bill has brought the next shift with him. So,
Mhm,
another Mountie.
mhm.
And Nathan mentions that something doesn't feel right and wants to know what Ernie is doing working with the Garrisons.
Yeah.
Bill wonders if the Garrisons stole the gold and hid it somewhere, and then Ernie just came upon it somehow,
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
telling Edie. And then they run into Henry. They find out about Elizabeth, Allie, and Oliver. And then Bill and Nathan find the ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
Bill spots it first, and then
Yes.
Nathan sees it, and Nathan grabs it as they're riding off.
Yes. I like how Nathan grabbed it. Like,
Yeah.
yep, this is my daughter's and I'm gonna take it.
Yes. And
Yeah.
even when Nathan finds out about Elizabeth and Allie and Oliver, you can
Mhm.
see that he's worried. Even though he doesn't
Yes.
show it as much, you can see that he's worried. Like, what? I think is what he
Right.
said.
Yes, of course. They pretty much immediately turn the other direction right off.
Yeah. I know that people wanted more emotion to, the rescue scene and the reunion,
Mm-hmm.
but I think in Elizabeth's case, it was to show that she has come a long way in getting over her fear.
Mm-hmm.
And in Nathan's case, I don't know for sure, but maybe it's to show that he trusts her instincts because he has said that multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, he really, really has.
hmm
And the more I think about it and have rewatched, this is in a way another moment of blending the family,
hmm
giving them that family
Yeah.
story.
Yes.
And, they're
Yeah.
all working together. It's not just Nathan off on his own with Elizabeth and Allie back home.
hmm
It's not
Yeah.
even just Nathan and Elizabeth. Now
hmm
Allie and Oliver are involved.
Yeah.
And so they're all trying to solve this problem
hmm
together.
Yeah.
It almost, I
Hmm.
don't know if this is a good comparison. In the movie The Incredibles,
It's been a long time since I've seen that.
it's great. It's
Yeah,
great Pixar movie.
yeah.
Yeah, you know it. But there's a scene
Hmm.
kind of toward the end where, as a family, they all come together and start fighting the bad guys. And so this kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Yeah,
Like, even though there's danger,
yeah,
they're now still working together as a family to figure it
yeah.
out.
Yes, agreed.
Mhm.
So another scene with Oliver, Allie, Woody, and Sunny. They're digging up the box, but the lock is already broken and there's nothing inside, which I think my guess would be, as Bill mentioned in the scene that we just talked about, it was probably Ernie that got it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. That's
Yes,
what I'm thinking. It just
not
who else
knowing
would?
that it was
Mhm.
stolen.
Yep.
And then, Allie and Oliver, they're trying to kind of stall things,
Mhm.
hold up the situation,
Yes.
not try to intensify things. And, she
Mhm.
says that maybe there's more to the story. Like Jake came back and dug it up without them knowing because he never meant to
Mhm.
share it.
Yeah.
And Sonny is getting mad.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
Oliver says that maybe Woody came back and took it. And,
Mhm.
he's like, I didn't do it. Why are you putting blame on me?
Mhm.
And
Right.
things are still escalating. Sonny is just getting more upset. And
Mhm.
Elizabeth with the cowbell.
That was so, so great. That was so great. And it really was so clever of Allie and Oliver to suddenly come up with
Yeah.
this, like you said, stall plan. And then it was really actually
Yeah.
comical to see Woody and Sunny kind of turn on each other and
Mm-hmm.
start fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can kind of see Allie and Oliver like, okay, yeah, this is working. Let's keep going, distracting them.
Yeah.
And then I totally
Chiding.
agree. Elizabeth just the timing with her cowbell.
Yes. Oh, but Oliver letting it slip about who she is. He's like, oh, this is our teacher, Mrs. Thornton. And I'm like,
Like, oh, Oliver, you're so nervous.
I was actually kind of surprised, and it's interesting that Sonny didn't recognize the name Thornton because Jack is the one that put him
Mm-hmm.
and his gang away.
Right. And like we said before, I mean, he did escape prison, which, takes some skill, but, he was just so focused on his gold,
Yeah,
it probably didn't even register.
probably. And then talking about the bears.
Oh, that was really funny. And she's like, oh, yeah, there's just
Yeah.
the other day. And, and she's like, well, you must have scared him off. And I thought it was
Oh,
really clever of Elizabeth to come up with that bit of the
yeah,
teacher
about the bears.
looking
Yeah.
for her students. And
Yes, that was great.
that was really good.
Yes. And of course, Woody spills his name, Sonny,
Yeah.
in one of his comments, and he's like, I told you not to say my name.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
And
They're both so nervous. Just the truth is coming out.
oh my gosh. And Elizabeth, of course, confronts Sonny. Everyone knows who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. And she even says, you got a couple choices here.
You can go on your
Oh,
own or you can take all of us hostage.
hmm exactly.
Oh.
Oh,
And once again, Oliver tries to protect Allie and Elizabeth as well this
hmm
time. He once again pushes them out of the way with the shovel, right
hmm
as Nathan, Bill, and Henry are riding up.
Oliver being the Mountie. That was so
Yes.
sweet and heroic to see
Yeah.
Oliver wanting to protect Elizabeth and Allie and
Yeah.
just push the bad guys away. And
Yeah.
he's getting his Mountie action.
Yes. He even says, "Run, Mrs. Thornton, run,
Yes.
Allie." And
So
they do.
brave.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so brave.
Yes. As they're riding up, they're like, "Stop right there." And Nathan, as
Hmm.
he's like
Woo.
pointing the gun at
We,
Sonny,
we, we get a gunshot, and
he's
Nathan
like,
was wearing his coat.
"You're under arrest."
Hmm. That was a good shot.
Yeah. And Bill's like, "Again."
Yes.
And Sonny's like, "Oh,
Oh man, just back on the floor. I liked how that was filmed, where
yeah.
even how it was filmed, it was almost like Sunny like looking up at the men on the
Hmm.
horses. And then
Yeah.
even Nathan was filmed kind of like he was looking up at Nathan, and that camera work was
Yeah.
great. Hmm.
Well done, Siobhan.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to season 3, we know that Jack got the medal for capturing the Garrison gang in season 4,
Mhm.
but the capture happened in season 3, episode 4, and that scene with Jack, Bill, Frank, and Jesse was fantastic at the church when they take down the Garrison gang. Jake comes in to the church, Frank is there. That's, where Jake finds Frank. They
Mhm.
have that little blowout fight. You know,
Mhm.
Jake kind of threatens to go after Abigail, and Frank's like, "If you touch Abigail, I will end you."
Mhm.
Like, go, Frank.
Yes. Go,
And
Frank. Yes,
and
exactly.
then of course, Jack and Jesse and I think Bill are already outside the church because they know
Hmm.
that the Garrisons are in town.
Hmm.
And they all take them down. Frank and Jesse stay behind to basically put Sonny and the other guy in handcuffs. I don't remember his name. I feel like I should. I feel
Okay, I
bad
don't
that I don't
either.
remember his name.
Hmm.
And Jack and Bill go after Jake. And there's that fantastic scene in the woods where
Yes.
Bill literally is holding Jake at gunpoint, and Jack's like,
Hmm.
"Don't do it. You will regret it. If
Yep.
you do, you will be behind bars for the rest of your
Hmm.
life.
Yeah.
I know you want to, but
Hmm.
don't do it." And,
Hmm.
Bill basically wants revenge because Jake is the one that killed his friend Carl Benson, who had the
Hmm.
daughter that he helped at the end of season 3 because of the mudslide that was
Hmm.
about to happen.
Yes. Yeah, that whole scene is fantastic. It's
Mhm.
action packed. I
Yeah.
mean, so many of the men are working together, and yeah, that's a
Yeah.
top scene for sure.
Yes.
Hmm.
And Silas Ramsey was another guy that Jake Garrison killed, who that was
Hmm.
Dottie Ramsey's husband, who was the
Yes.
mayor in the first,
Hmm.
I think, 2 seasons, two and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
Great scene.
Great scene
Yes.
for sure.
Yes. One of the best Mountie action scenes, I think, in the show.
Yeah, that was great Mountie action. It
Hmm.
was.
But moving along, to end off the episode, after the rescue, we get the what I call the Mountie family moment,
Hmm.
outside the Mountie
Yeah.
office and then at the saloon. The Nathan and Allie hug, Bill's mention
Yes.
of having a drink in the saloon, and Elizabeth is like, or some apple juice. Now, it didn't really bother me that Elizabeth said apple juice, but I think that's just a Nathan and Elizabeth thing.
Hmm. Yeah, me too. The first time she said that, I thought, oh, cute. Yes, apple juice, that's their thing.
Yeah.
But now I'm kind of like, it's their thing that maybe wasn't the time. But also, I think Elizabeth was coming from a place of being very motherly and the teacher
Yes.
and
Because of the
saying,
kids.
right, right.
Yeah.
Like, hey, no drinks for the kids.
No, no drinks for the
Yeah,
kids.
you're right, right.
Yes.
And yes, I did love that we got an Allie and Nathan hug.
Yeah.
And I did, the more I think about it, the more I've watched it, I do like that it was the family coming back together.
Hmm.
Granted, Jack wasn't with them, but I
Yeah.
did appreciate that it was Nathan, Elizabeth, Allie, Bill,
Mm-hmm.
Oliver, they're all coming
Yeah.
back safe and sound together.
Yeah.
I think that was still very
Yeah.
impactful.
Me
Hmm.
too. Yeah. So Nathan tells Oliver that
Hmm.
will get him a high evaluation on his end of the year report.
Hmm.
He's complimenting him. Elizabeth
Yeah.
compliments both Oliver and Allie.
Hmm.
And, she's like, high marks on all accounts or something along those lines.
Hmm.
And then, Bill's like, you're going to be the talk of the town. And they walk in the saloon and everyone's clapping, glad that
Hmm.
they're okay.
Yeah,
And
that was sweet.
Mike running in, he's like, I couldn't find him.
Oh my God. And everyone's like, Mike, get with the program.
And then he's like, oh, they're okay.
I mean, that was really sweet that he was so concerned and
Yeah.
obviously was riding around everywhere, but oh, Mike, just
Yeah.
so funny.
Yes. Another favorite moment from the episode was Nathan and Elizabeth's hug with Rosemary. That was so sweet.
That was really sweet. That was cute.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Yes. And of course, Rosemary is talking about the article for the Valley Voice that will be out. She's trying to come up with a headline, about the Garrison gang and the capture of them. And then Rosemary walks away and Nathan says, so I go on one little stakeout and you find more trouble than the jail sees in a year. What can I say? Diane DeMarco loves trouble or something. I can't do Elizabeth's accent. I can't. That was an epic fail.
Yeah, that was good.
Diane DeMarco loves trouble.
Yes, there we go. Yes.
Oh my
And
goodness.
again, that was cute. I would have preferred maybe a more tender moment.
Yeah.
And of course, I would have
Yeah.
preferred a hug or a kiss or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yeah. Me
But
too.
it was a moment between them, and
Yeah.
we'll take it.
Yes, we will take it.
Yeah.
I know I've seen some people say that, they were kind of making light of the whole situation, but I didn't take it that way.
Hmm.
What about you?
You know, that was definitely my first and
Mm-hmm.
maybe second impression when I
Mm-hmm.
watched of man, why aren't they more
Serious?
emotional? Right. Why aren't they
Yeah.
more serious? Why aren't they talking about, oh, I'm so glad you're
Yeah.
safe. Something could have
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
But the more, again, that I've thought about it and kind of rewatched, I realize that I do agree with you that maybe there's a reason that they made
Mm-hmm.
parts of this episode a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
also, I think maybe it might also just speak to just that. No, I don't want to say all fears are gone, but Elizabeth being with Nathan, she has gotten over her fear of being with another Mountie. And I like to think that maybe this was a little part of that. Of course, she still cares and she told him be safe and
Yeah.
but she's definitely not panicking, freaking out
No.
like she used to.
Yes,
Which
exactly.
which I'm glad because if she was still doing that, then I think that would still need to be addressed. And I
Yeah.
I don't think we would have time to address that again
No.
this season.
Mm-mm. No.
Hmm.
Not at all. I agree.
Yeah.
So that wraps up the episode. Do we want to briefly talk about what's next before we wrap up?
Sure.
So Nathan has been promoted to chief constable, and I
Hmm.
love Elizabeth's reaction. That was amazing.
Yes, we get another Nathan Grant. We haven't really gotten that since season 9 when
I think so.
he pretends to lose his memory
I
and
think so.
she says Nathan Grant.
Grant. Yes.
This obviously has more enthusiasm, but
Yes. Yes. And Nathan definitely deserves this.
oh, he does. He
Yes.
100% does. Mhm.
And we stated this at the beginning of the episode, but there's no need to worry. This doesn't mean that
Mhm.
Kevin's leaving the show. Kevin is not
No,
leaving the show.
no, he is not.
Nathan is not leaving Hope Valley.
Nope.
I don't work in law enforcement. I don't know a lot of the ins and outs of law enforcement, but usually a promotion doesn't mean a transfer.
Right, right. Yes, exactly. And maybe I'm thinking this will be a good thing.
Hmm.
Maybe it might keep Nathan a little more grounded in Hope
Yes.
Valley. And especially now that he has Oliver, it
Hmm.
might free up some of Nathan's time.
Yes. Of course, we don't know for sure, but I think that is exactly why they are doing this to
Hmm.
bring Jacob into the show more as
Hmm.
Oliver. And I think it's a good possibility to have him be a second Mountie in town
Hmm.
because Hope
Yes.
Valley is growing.
Hmm. Yes. And we love Oliver. We don't want him to
Yeah.
go. We want him to
No.
stay.
Yes.
Hmm.
So kind of like what they've done with Bill. So Bill, he's like the investigator in town.
Hmm. Yeah.
Over the seasons, Bill used to be a Mountie and he's still in Hope Valley, but
Hmm.
he's not a Mountie, he's an investigator. And he works
Exactly.
with Nathan. So since Nathan is getting promoted, he could be Oliver's superior, so to speak.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
Nathan would do a lot of the work just in town. Like he wouldn't be the one going off on a whole lot of the missions anymore. That would be Oliver's job now.
Yes, yes, exactly. And, Nathan being more in town
Yeah.
would absolutely make sense for an official family,
Yes.
for him to
Yeah.
become a husband
Yeah.
and more of a father. It
Yes.
all makes sense.
Yeah. I feel like that's exactly why they're doing this. But we could
I
be
do
wrong.
too. I do
It would
too. I
make
don't think,
sense.
right, it does. I don't think it would be something random, not with Nathan.
Mm-mm. No.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just everything that we've seen and heard, I
Hmm.
think it's a good possibility.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a good
Hmm.
thing.
Yes. No need to worry, Hardee's.
Mhm.
Kevin's not going anywhere. Nathan's not going anywhere.
No, no, he is in his prime.
Yes.
He is not
Yes.
going anywhere. Please
Yes.
don't worry, friends.
Yes. And Lucas is being sued over the park. And then we get that little clip of Nathan and Lucas with
Hmm.
McGinty. And, McGinty is like, your daughter has a habit of poking into places she doesn't belong. And Nathan, he's like, leave Allie out of this. And
Hmm.
Lucas holding Nathan back. I was like, okay.
Hmm. Right. That was so good. I'm excited to see that scene with the
Yeah.
two of them. And, that'll be really, really good. That'll be a
Yeah.
moment for Nathan to really show some more emotion and protection for his daughter.
Yeah. I think so
Mhm.
too. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing that scene.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too.
So Jack goes missing,
Mhm.
and we talked about this before we started recording, but while I do think that him going missing could be the lead into him getting sick, I don't
Mhm.
think the reason he goes missing is because he's sick. I think it's something completely different. And my theory, I feel like it's a very good possibility. I don't know for sure, but just how things have been playing out, and now that we know that Nathan is getting promoted,
Mhm.
my theory is that could Jack going missing be related to Nathan's promotion and thinking
Mm.
he's leaving Hope Valley, so maybe Jack runs away
Mhm.
and gets
And I
lost.
Right. And I really like that theory, Nicole. I really like it. I didn't even think of that possibility, but it also completely makes sense
Hmm.
because, you know, Jack has become such an admirer and fan
Hmm.
of Mountie
Hmm.
Nathan and enjoys
Hmm.
spending time with him and I think loves him on some level.
Yeah.
Definitely is a person he knows that's in his life. And I
Hmm.
think since we see the other boys run up and say, oh, he's missing, we can't find him. Maybe he's hanging out with the other kids and they're talking about Nathan's promotion.
And he runs off.
And then maybe little Jack gets upset and just runs and no one is able to run after him and find him. And then I think if that were to happen, then that would lead into conversations of, again, making the family official of Nathan's not going anywhere. Jack doesn't need to worry because we are a family. We're going to be an official family. I like that theory.
Might be the start of them deciding they want to get married. I think this right here, Jack going missing, is just the start.
I really, really like that theory, Nicole. It completely makes sense. It completely makes sense. It does. And it would lead into, okay, let's make this official conversations because this affects our children too. And they've become attached and it all makes sense.
It would make sense and fit because of the scene that we know from the promo photos of episode 10 that Nathan and Jack have with the baseball glove at the Harvest Festival put on by Mike and May.
Right. That might be a moment of Nathan just getting on his level and saying, you don't have to worry. I'm not going anywhere.
Yes.
Oh, I kind of hope this happens now.
I think it's a good possibility.
It's so good.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Yes.
And I think that would be really unexpected in a good way.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like the town dinner or the Harvest Festival is going to be the end of the episode.
I think so too. I really think so too. And your theory also would just show how attached Jack has become to Nathan.
Yes.
And if he gets that mad that he doesn't want him to leave, well, then he obviously has an attachment to Nathan.
Yes. And I didn't think about this until just now, but Jack running off because of thinking that Nathan is leaving Hope Valley, which of course Nathan's not leaving Hope Valley. No. I feel like it maybe in a way could call back to season 5. And we know that Lindsay has watched all episodes of this show. Do you remember the scene right before Jack and Elizabeth got married? Well, 2 scenes. The one when Elizabeth, I think, was talking to someone right outside one of the buildings in town, and Philip overhears.
Oh.
And Philip runs off.
Right. Yes.
And he gets upset because some of the other kids were telling him that, once a teacher gets married, she quits being a teacher.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, and he does get so upset.
He got upset and he runs off, and Jack and Elizabeth have to go find him, and then Philip and Elizabeth have that sweet little moment by the pond.
Yes. I do remember that. Yes, and there have been a lot of callbacks.
I feel like that could be one.
That wouldn't be far-fetched.
Yeah, I feel like that could be one callback.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yes.
Oh, can't wait to see.
Me too. And then Elizabeth helps Emily find her purpose, which that's in the synopsis. We don't see any scenes of that in the promo, but
yeah, I think that'll be good. I think that'll be really sweet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Georgie is back. So Melissa Gilbert is back this week.
Yes. Yay. We get to see her.
Yes. That'll be great. I think it's going to be a great episode 10. Great episode 11 coming up, and then finale. I'm not ready for the season to end.
I know. Me either. I'm not ready. I want 10 more episodes. 12 more episodes.
Me too. We need 24.
We do.
Like Little House.
Yeah,
how great would that be?
They were able to do it.
But I think that pretty much covers everything. Is there any other thoughts you have before we close out?
I don't think so. I'm just really excited to see what's coming next. And yeah, I think It's going to be great. I think from here on out, these episodes are going to be really strong. I do.
I think so too. No need to worry, Hearties. Everything will be okay.
Yes, absolutely. It's gonna be good.
All right, Hearties. I think that wraps up our review of When Calls the Heart, Season 12, Episode 9, Buried Treasure. If you enjoyed this episode and are watching on YouTube, make sure to like this video and share your thoughts about the episode and any thoughts you have about these final 3 episodes of the season in the comments. If you are listening on Spotify, make sure to rate and review, as your feedback is always greatly appreciated. If you want to stay up to date on all of our reviews for the rest of the season, you can subscribe to this channel on YouTube or follow along on Spotify, and make sure to turn on the bell so you are alerted when those new episodes come. You can also find the podcast on Facebook and Instagram at Swing My Heart Podcast and Twitter at Swing My Heart Pod. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next week. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.